It's a Tuesday morning in the autumn of 1965. The alarm clock rattles on the nightstand at 6 sharp, a real clock, wound the night before with 2 little bells on top and hands that glow faintly in the dark. Nobody reaches for a phone. There is no phone to reach for. There's a clock, a window, and the grey light of an ordinary morning in an ordinary American town. Let's spend that whole day together. Not the highlights, not the famous events, just an ordinary Tuesday, hour by hour, in a house that could have been on any street in America. What people ate, what they did, what they talked about, what the day sounded like. I think by the end of it, you'll miss it. I know I will. 6 in the morning. Mum is up first. She's always up first. Down to the kitchen in her housecoat, and the day begins with the percolator, that hollow bubbling sound that meant coffee was coming, filling the house long before anyone else opened their eyes. The stove goes on. Bacon in the cast iron skillet, and that smell begins its work, drifting up the stairs, doing what no alarm clock could. Eggs. Toast under the broiler, because the pop-up toaster was for company. And the smell of that breakfast is the first thing 3 sleepy children will register on this earth today. Dad comes down at 6:30, shaved, in a pressed white shirt. He drinks his coffee standing up, reading the front page of the morning paper folded in his left hand. He'll take a second cup sitting down, but the first one is always standing, one eye on the clock. Outside, in the gray, the milkman has already come and gone. 2 glass bottles on the porch, cold to the touch, cream risen to the top. The paper is on the walk, thrown by a 12-year-old on a bicycle who's been up since 5. 7 o'clock. The children come down the stairs in a herd. Full breakfast. Every one of them sits and eats, because nobody in this house leaves without breakfast, and there's no discussion about it. Shoes are polished, laid by the door the night before. Lunch boxes are packed with a sandwich in wax paper, an apple, and maybe a cookie if the week has been good. There's a little thermos in the lid. Mum checks fingernails. She checks behind ears. She licks her thumb and fixes a cowlick, and the boy squirms and endures it, because that is the ancient and universal treaty between mothers and sons. 7:45. Dad is out the door with his lunch pail and a kiss at the doorway. He walks to the car, one car, in the driveway, and it's his. Mum will be home all day, and the neighborhood is walkable, and the second car is not a sacrifice they're making. It's a thing that hasn't occurred to anybody yet. The children walk to school, alone. Together, but no adult with them. Down the sidewalk, past the Hendersons, past the corner where the crossing guard stands in her white belt, and they'll walk home again at 3. Nobody drives them. Nobody follows. Nobody checks in. And nobody, in 1965, thinks this is remarkable in any way at all. 8 o'clock, and the house goes quiet. And here is where most people's picture of 1965 goes fuzzy, because we've all been sold a lie that Mum sat down with a magazine. Let me tell you about her Tuesday. Tuesday is ironing day. Not, she did some ironing. Tuesday is ironing day, because Monday was wash day, and the clothes came off the line yesterday. She sets up the board, plugs in the heavy iron, and there's a basket that will take her most of the morning. Shirts, dresses, pillowcases, and yes, handkerchiefs, because men carried them and they were ironed. Beds get made with hospital corners, floors get swept, then damp mopped. The bathroom gets scrubbed on hands and knees. She'll bake this morning because store-bought is expensive, and she has a recipe box that's basically the family's operating manual. And she'll do the dishes by hand. Twice already today, and it's not yet noon. The radio is on, or the little kitchen TV if they have one, and there's a soap opera murmuring in the background. That's what those shows are called, by the way, because they were sponsored by soap companies, aimed exactly at the woman standing at this ironing board. I want to say this plainly, because it gets lost in the nostalgia. This was work. Hard, unpaid, invisible, full-time work. And it never appeared on a single pay stub. When people say one salary supported a family, they leave out that a second person was working every bit as hard and getting nothing for it. Both things are true, and honesty demands we say them together. 10 in the morning. The doorbell, or a knock. The neighborhood is alive during the day. The bread man, the fuller brush man with his case of samples, the fellow sharpening knives. Mrs. Kowalski next door pops in for coffee, and they sit at the kitchen table for 20 minutes and talk about her sister, about the price of chuck roast, about who's expecting. That's a friendship happening in real time, unscheduled, at a kitchen table, for free. Nobody texted first. She just came over. Try to imagine a neighbor doing that today and watch your own panic rise. Noon. Mum eats standing at the counter. Leftovers, a piece of toast, whatever's there. Nobody makes lunch for her. Meanwhile, the children have their lunchboxes at school, and the bell rings for recess. And out they go, into a schoolyard with no soft surfaces, climbing a metal jungle gym over hard-packed dirt, playing dodgeball with real force, coming home with scraped knees that nobody photographs, reports, or worries about. 2 in the afternoon, the grocery store. Mum walks or takes the car if Dad. She has a list, written in pencil, and she knows the price of everything on it, because prices hold still for years. The butcher knows her name and what her family likes. The bag boy carries the groceries out and doesn't take a tip, because you don't tip the bag boy. She'll spend $15 or $20 and it'll feed 5 people for the week, because she will turn those ingredients into meals with skill. 3 o'clock, and the herd comes back. School's out. The door bangs. Books hit the floor. There is a snack, milk and cookies, and I know it's a cliché, but clichés get to be clichés by being true. And then the children go outside. Outside, until dinner. That is the entire instruction, and it is not negotiable, and it doesn't need to be explained. They ride bikes with no helmets. They roam blocks in every direction. They play kick the can and freeze tag, and they build something questionable out of scrap lumber. And they organize their own games with their own rules and settle their own arguments, with no adult anywhere in sight. They come home when the streetlights come on. That was the rule, and every child in America knew it. And it was enforced by the streetlights themselves and by mothers standing on porches calling names into the dusk. 5:30. Dad's car in the driveway. Kids run to the door. He's home. And here's the thing that stops me cold when I really think about it. He's home. He is done. There is no laptop. There is no phone that follows him. There is nothing in his hand that could bring the factory into this kitchen. When the whistle blew, the workday ended in a way it doesn't for anybody anymore. 6 o'clock. Dinner. Everyone at the table. Everyone at the same time. Same table. There is no other option. There's no second television, no bedroom to eat in, no reason to be anywhere else. Pot roast, potatoes, green beans, bread. Grace is said. The kids are asked about school and expected to answer in sentences. Elbows off the table. You don't leave until you're excused, and the conversation is just conversation. Nobody's checking anything. Nobody's scrolling. There is no glowing rectangle competing for a single person's attention at that table, because it has not been invented, and so the family has each other's whole attention by default, rather than by discipline. That's the part I don't think we can get back, and it's the part I'd take back first. 7 o'clock. Dishes. Mum and the girls most likely, and yes, that's how it was, and no, that wasn't fair. Dad reads the paper in his chair. Homework at the kitchen table. 7:30. Television. One set, one channel, chosen by Dad, watched by everyone. The whole family sits in one room and watches the same thing at the same time and laughs at the same moments. And the next morning at school, every kid has seen it, and every man at the plant has seen it. That show is a thing the entire country holds in common. 3 channels, and out of that scarcity comes something we've completely lost. A shared conversation. A country that watched the same thing and could talk to each other about it. 9 o'clock. Kids to bed, youngest first. Teeth, prayers, lights out. There's nothing in that bedroom that glows, nothing that buzzes. The child lies in the dark with nothing at all to do but fall asleep, and so they fall asleep. 10 o'clock. The house settles. Dad locks up, or doesn't, honestly, because plenty of doors on that street aren't locked. Mum sets out tomorrow's clothes, writes tomorrow's list, sets the alarm clock, winds it, and puts it back on the nightstand. The last light goes off. And in that dark house, on that dark street, there's nothing but the sound of a clock ticking, and the furnace, and the wind. Let's go back and fill in some hours we skipped, because the texture is in the details. Mid-morning, the phone rings. It's on the wall in the kitchen, with a cord long enough to reach the stove, and it's black, and it's heavy, and it belongs to the house, not to any person. There's one number for the whole family. If someone calls for Dad and he's at work, they call back tonight. That's it. That's the system. And if the line is busy, and it often is, you get a busy signal, and you hang up, and you try again later, and nobody minds. There's no voicemail, no missed call, no anxiety about being unreachable, because being unreachable is simply the normal condition of a human being for most of the day. Imagine the peace of that. Imagine not being findable. At 11, Mum might sit down for exactly 1 cup of coffee and 1 cigarette, because a great many people smoked in the kitchen, in the car, in the doctor's waiting room, on the aeroplane. We remember the good and skip that part. But it was there, in the air of every room in that house. Early afternoon, if it's the right week, she's at the sewing machine, not as a hobby. A dress for the girl, a mended knee, a hem taken up. Half the clothes in that house pass through her hands. And she has a Sears catalogue on the shelf, thick as a brick, and the children have already circled everything in the toy section for a Christmas that's still 2 months away. Around 4, the ice cream truck, or a different truck, depending on the town, but some truck with some bell, and every kid on that block hears it from 3 streets away and comes running with a dime. At 5, dinner is well underway, because dinner started at 4:30 from scratch on a stove with real ingredients. There is no shortcut. There's no delivery. There is no restaurant that a family of 5 is going to on a Tuesday in 1965, because eating out is for anniversaries, and everyone knows it. And after dinner, before television, sometimes people just sat on the porch. The porch. Front porches faced the street, and people sat on them, and neighbors walked by, and you talked. The porch was a kind of technology for community, and then we built patios in the back, behind fences, facing away from each other. Nobody discussed that decision either. It just happened. Let me also tell you what didn't happen in that house on that Tuesday. Nobody worried about the news, because the news came twice a day. The paper in the morning, and 15 minutes of Cronkite in the evening. And then it stopped. The world's troubles arrived on a schedule, and then went away and left you alone. There was no feed, no alerts, no infinite scroll of disasters happening to strangers 1,000 miles away. Whatever was happening in the world, it did not follow this family into their kitchen and sit at their table and eat their attention. Nobody compared their house to a stranger's kitchen. There was no window into anybody's life except the neighbors, and the neighbors had the same house you did, so what was there to envy? Contentment came cheaper, because discontent wasn't being manufactured and delivered to you 12 hours a day. And nobody was alone in the way we're alone now. The neighborhood was full of people during the day. Kids were out, mothers were home. The mailman came twice. Somebody was always around. Loneliness certainly existed, but the architecture of the day itself kept throwing people at each other. That was the day. That was Tuesday. Now, before you write to me, I know the doors were closed to plenty of people. I know a woman with ambitions beyond that ironing board hit a wall, and a black family couldn't buy the house on that street, and there was no help for the family that fell apart. The good old days were better if the days were good to you, and for millions of Americans, they were not. But strip all that away, And there's still something in that Tuesday worth grieving. Not the pot roast, not the milkman. It's the unhurriedness, the completeness of it. A day that started and ended, with a beginning and a middle and a clean end, where work stopped, where a family was in one room, where children were feral and free until the streetlights came on, and where nobody, at any point in those 16 hours, was somewhere else in their head. That's what we traded. And I'm not sure anybody explained the terms. So tell me about your Tuesday. What did your mother do all day? What time did your father get home? And what happened when he did? When were you allowed back inside? Put it in the comments. I read every single one. Because 1,000 ordinary Tuesdays, remembered by the people who lived them, are worth more than any history book. Until next time, take care.